everybody, Lord Tremendous here, and I apologize. This battle report is a long time coming. I had family come out for about a week or so, and so I just fell off the face of the planet. Didn't jump on the computer to do any battle reports or anything like that. So, family time, is gone. My family's out of town, and I'm back on my usual schedule. So hopefully I'll be able to put out a couple of these a week once again. This is the last one I have right now, but I'm hoping to get some games in this weekend. 40K is very prevalent in my area, so if I fall off the face of the planet or just put Eve stuff up for a while, don't take it personal. Don't take it as a bad sign. It's just waxing and waning as I try to hit more games and then get back on a normal schedule. So anyway, with that said, and the apology issued, here is battle report number 86. It's a 5,000 point battle. 'Tis I, Lord Tremendous of the Ogre Cons, versus Lord Grawl of the Sarn Ancients. This is a newer opponent. This is a newer army. He was playing ogres, and he saw Lizardmen. He wanted to play them. He sees Warriors of Dark Gods, wants to play them. He's got gamer ADHD, and hey, so do I, so I totally get it. Anyway, he's trying out his Sarn Ancient army. I asked him if he just wanted to try a practice game, an easygoing game, and he did not. He said, come at me, bro. So I did, and this is what happened. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes. Here's my list, and to be honest with you, the more I play it, the more I like it, so I'm not really motivated to change anything right now. I've got my Mammoth Hunter, Shyhammer, he's got an Ogre Crossbow, the Flame Lance, Lucky Shield, the Obsidian Rock, Charm of Cursed Iron, Wildheart Big Name, and he's on the Rock Warhammer. I mean, it's a badass combo, and I just like it, so I think I'm going to keep it for a while. Here's my second Mammoth Hunter. He's got an Ogre Crossbow, he's my BSB, he's got Heart Ripper, Yeti Furs, and Troll Eater. And I doubt I'll ever change this guy's kit, it's just too perfect. I've got my Shaman Skaz, he knows he has 4 learned spells, he's got the Dragonfire Gem, and the Path of Thaumaturgy. Last but not least, I have my original Mammoth Hunter, Lord Tremendous. He's got his Ogre Crossbow, the Obsidian Blade, the Armor of Fortune, Headhunter Big Name, and he's on his trusty Tusker, the War Teddy. There's no reason to change this kit either. It's pretty much perfect for my needs. Starting off my core choices, I have a unit of 10 Tribesmen, the good old boys. They have Banner Musician, Iron Fist, and the Banner of Discipline. I've got 2 units of Scraplings, 15-man bricks of Scraplings, the Randos and the Scrap Pack. Both have Musician and Bows. And now we're into my special choices, which I kick off with my Saber-Toothed Tiger Bow Wowzer. Then I have a unit of 6 Scrapling Trappers, the Favored Pets. And my big beefy unit of 3 Tusker Cav with a Fat and the Furious. They've got a Banner, Great Weapon, and the War Standard. Finishing up my special choices are 5 Yeti with a Unit Champion. In the Powder Keg category, I have my Scratapult, and since this is a Wild Heart list, that's the only option I have. And starting off in the Chain Beast category is my Slave Giant, who is still unnamed. I haven't quite found the perfect name for him yet. However, my wife is painting him, and he looks a lot better than the primed mess you see before you. I'm very pleased. She's not quite done with it as of this recording, but hopefully in the next week or so it'll be done, and I'll have some better pictures of it. And then the real star of the show, the mainstay in my army, my Frost Mammoth, Rufus. He's got a couple of Ogre Crossbows. He straps onto the backs of the guys that he straps onto his back. And they're really just kind of there for show. He's the star. He's the one that I love. And he'll never come out of the army. He just never will. That's going to do it for my list. I'm going to post my opponent's list, play some music. If you want to see what he's got, pause it. Take a look all you want. my spells, which are exactly what you're looking at. And here's deployment. For the most part, I just figured I'm playing Sauron Ancients. I'm faster than they are, and I didn't know exactly what he had, but I assumed a Quado Lord, and I assumed infantry. Lots and lots of infantry, and I wasn't entirely wrong. He's got 2 solid bricks of infantry, 1 big brick of skinks, and 2 solid bricks of SARS Cav. I can't remember what they're called now. But bottom line is, it's a very slow and very stocky build. And I've got it mobility-wise, I guess. So I didn't really care. I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw everything down and I'm going to go at him. He wants a fair shot. I'm going to give him the best game I can. So here we go. This is what he asked for. I told him, said, you want a training game? You want a practice game? You want me to go easy, medium, hard? How do you want this to go? And he's like, come at me, bro. So I do what I'm asked to do. I'm very good with orders, you know? So, like I said, I put everything down to fight. I got my rock, the scraplings, and the scratapult on the left flank there on the rock, just kind of ready to take anything that might come in. I know Shyhammer's my general, but with an 18-inch bubble, I'm not too concerned about it. And honestly, I mean, most things have leadership 9 now, thanks to having like 3 mammoth hunters around. And his 18-inch bubble, I know I'm going to end up crumped up in the middle, so might as well have fun with it. I was thrilled when I saw a big unit of cavalry across from him, because he can really put some damage on them. Rufus, the Fat and the Furious Skaz, they're on the left center there, backed up on the right center by the good old boys and Lord Tremendous. Meanwhile, I have Khan and the Yetis with the other unit of scraplings and the trappers on the right flank to deal with anything, just so that he can't get around on my sides without pause. And once I saw the way he put down, I thought I was in pretty good shape. The scraplings are going to bait the cav on the right flank, make him stay over there. The trappers are going to go into the forest, trap it, maybe the ruins on the right there, maybe even deal with the cav or the brick just to keep him out of the fight for a little bit longer while I deal with his middle and left side, and then just kind of sweep up afterwards. That was my plan. You'll see how it goes in about 6 turns. Here's top of 1 after movement, and I got to go first. Like I said, I deployed first and everything. I'm sorry, I also had my giant on the left flank. I missed it. My bad. I'm a terrible person. Anyway, I don't hesitate. I move up forward, pretty much max speed. I think even Lord Tremendous had to take dangerous terrain for going into the forest. I didn't care. Rufus goes up his 6 inches. That's all he can go because he hits water, and everything else just gets up in the middle. He wanted me to come at him. I'm coming at him. You know, like I said, I'm good with orders. That's it for my movement. During the magic phase, I'm able to get Wrath of God off, and I put it right in front of his infantry, because no matter how fast he moves those guys, he's not going to be able to get away. And I'm just looking to take models off of his bricks as early as possible, so it's less that can fight me in combat. Maybe not the nicest thing in the world to do, but he said come at me. And yes, I'm going to keep reminding you of that because I feel bad, but it was fun. It was fun, and I'm glad I got the spell off. And then during the shooting phase, I think Khan or Lord Tremendous, somebody shoots into the unit of infantry, and I think I kill 1. You know, hey, you know what? I'll take it. Nickel and dime, nickel and dime. Nothing else happens in my turn, so here's bottom 1 after movement, and my opponent comes forward. He takes a few charges, long-distance charges. He's been watching my battle reports, and he doesn't make all of them, but he does make the one into the Yetis in the forest with the brick of, that might be Temple Guard, or it could just be Saurus Warriors. I can't remember which, but they make the charge, and that was like, oh, nicely done, nicely done. What can you do? The rest of his stuff either fails charges or comes up a little bit, not much. He's kind of getting boxed in, which was part of my plan, and that's really it for his movement. There's a better picture of his warriors making it into my Yetis. His cav on the right flank there did try to charge my Yetis as well and failed. Not that that's necessarily a good thing, but it's not a bad thing. He would have had to go through the ruins and through the forest in order to hit me, so anything that would have went through that would have taken DTs. So I might have been able to take out a rank if he rolled bad enough, but I guess this works out for the best. I'll have to deal with the cav a different way. There's a better picture of his other warriors trying to get into the good old boys and failing that charge, which is fine. Whether he made it or not, that's a bad matchup for him, but he doesn't know that yet. I tried to explain it to him, and he was like, shut up, leave me alone, let me learn. And I'm like, okay, you're the boss. So it was a good fight. I like the fight in this guy. I really do. He's like, you know, he keeps it in perspective. It's a friendly game. It's for fun. And how else is he going to learn how, you know, what his army can do if he doesn't, you know, try to crack their skulls on everything that he can? It's smart. That's the way I play. I like it. And there's a better picture of his other unit of cav failing a charge into the Hammer Brothers, which is good because had he slammed into him, yeah, Rufus is right there, would have gotten some attacks, but a lot of his damage comes from impact hits. So if my opponent had gotten that charge off, I probably would have just lost my general without doing much, if any, damage to his unit. So yeah, that was a bit of a piss poor placement by my part there, but thank God the dice gods favored me and not my opponent. During the magic phase, my opponent is able to get Totemic Summon off, and he puts a little Totemic Beast right near my Scratapult, which is smart. My Scratapult's probably going down now. And my opponent got it off with Overwhelming Power, which means he miscasts 12. Which, not a bad combo, considering his caster is in the middle of all those little skink bastards. The result of his miscast is, what is that, 3, 6, 7, 8... 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think 10 or 11 of the skinks end up dying from the miscast. He passes his panic check because they're still cold-blooded, but that was a hell of a miscast. Gets a Totemic Summon up for a third of his unit. I'll take that. Next, he gets Swarm of Insects off on the good old boys and is actually able to do 2 wounds to him. Almost killed a guy, but I made an armor save. I was impressed. That spell is really underrated. At the end of his magic phase, the Wrath of the Gods comes down. And it does some significant damage. The unit that's in combat with the Yetis takes 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 die from that unit. 2 or 3 die from the unit that failed to charge into the good old boys. The Skink Braves take a few more points of damage, and his general, Skink Priest or whatever it is, takes 2 out of 3 wounds. He made 1 save, which saved his life, but wow. Yes, I do like the Wrath of God spells. Then in the shooting phase, I believe the Skinks, they're able to shoot up and do 2 more wounds to the good old boys, dropping an ogre completely. There's still plenty in there to deal with everything that they got to deal with, but that was some good shooting, and I lost the guy for it. They will pay with blood. Then we go into combat, and the combined negatives to their initiative with the Yetis and the Yeti Furs makes it so that my Yetis and my BSB go first. And as you can see, we obliterate the unit. They do attack back and are able to drop a Yeti for their trouble, but they lose this combat by a truckload. They do make their break check because I'm light troops, and I forgot they were in the forest, so he couldn't be steadfast. That's my fault completely. But my opponent made his break check, and he sits right there, but there's not much left of his unit. With combat over, we go over here to top of 2 after movement, and I make my move. The Hammer Brothers and the Slave Giant slam into his left side cavalry, and they both make it, which is amazing. Rufus comes up just a little bit through the water. He can't march or anything like that, but it is what it is. Bottom left flank, the Scratapult and the Scraplings turn to face the Totemic Summon to try to kill it before it kills them. The Scraplings on the right flank there, they move up to try to block the Cav to stop them from going into the Yeti next turn if they can. We'll see what happens. The good old boys and Lord Tremendous charge into the other unit of Saurus Infantry, and they make it no problem. Lord Tremendous does take a wound for dangerous terrain for charging out of the forest. The Fat and the Furious, they move up a little bit. I think the Fat and the Furious tried to charge into the Skinks and failed, or they just moved up. Can't remember which, but that's where they ended up. And Bow Wowzer moves up to block the unit of Saurus Warriors, so they can't charge into the Hammers or anything like that next turn. And that's really it for my movement. There's a better picture of Shy Hammer and the Giant slamming into the Cav, and they're going to beat the ever-loving crap out of them, I hope. And there's a better picture of Lord Tremendous and the good old boys slamming into a big unit of infantry, and I hope they do as well as the Yetis did in their fight. Nothing happens in a magic phase, but in the shooting phase, my trappers are able to kill one of the Saurus Cav on the right flank there, which is amazing. Rotten apples that these guys throw seem to find the vital spots a lot more often than they should. And then we go into combat, and the Yetis make very short work of the handful of Saurus warriors that are left. They turn to face the Cav just in case they do make it, so I don't get hit in the flank. And that's really it for this portion of combat. They mopped up that unit quite nicely. Combat over here, I think maybe these are Temple Guard. They end up taking two ogres out, doing a total of, I think, 4 or 5 wounds. In return, though, they take a boatload of wounds. It looks like 8 or 9. I do believe they are not steadfast. Not that it matters, because either they are or they aren't, but they make their break check and stay right where they're at. So, that's fine. Now I just got to deal with them in the next turn. Over here, the Hammer Brothers and the Giant don't do that many wounds. They only kill 4 of the Cav, which is still a significant amount, I agree, but I just expected them to do more, and my opponent was making his armor saves like it was going out of style. In return, however, he's not able to injure me at all. Just couldn't hit. Of all things, he couldn't hit. And he ends up losing this combat, but he makes his check and stays, I believe. No, I'm wrong. He does not make his break check at all. He ends up running from the Giant. We randomized, and it was the Giant he was running from. And he gets away. He does take some DTs for running through Bow Wowzer, and I think another one dies. But yeah, both pursued, and they got away. I couldn't catch them. Very interesting. But unexpected, but happy that. So with that extreme unexpected situation occurring, we go over here to bottom of 2, and yet again, lightning strikes twice. He tries to rally that unit of Cav, and they fail, and they bounce to the good old boys and Lord Tremendous, and he has to take more DTs, and he fails them. And as you can see, they end up like right next to Lord Tremendous now. Little crazy. Little crazy. The Dice Gods are having a riot. The Saurus Warriors on the left flank there charging a Bow Wowzer just to get him out of the way. I guess he figures he'll just overrun into the hammers and have a shot at him. I guess he might be right. We'll find out. The Skinks in the forest stay right where they are, and the Cav on the right flank with really nothing else to do go after the trappers. I think he thought I would flee, and I stood and fired, and I think I killed another one. And but they make it in there, so the trappers are dead, and that's really it for movement. There's a better picture of his, his cavalry fleeing through the good old boys and Lord Tremendous. And yes, his character charged into Lord Tremendous. He wants to challenge him and try to fight him that way. He's relying on his 4-up board save to save him, which isn't the worst idea in the world. He's kind of got his back up against the wall. It'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a better picture of his Cav slamming into the trappers, and if you notice, there's 2 cavalry missing. Yeah, died to rotten apples. My trappers are amazing. They're about to die horribly, but they're still amazing. And there's a better picture of his character, I think. He wasn't in the unit, he was next to the unit, and he charged the Hammer Brothers in the flank, as you can see, and then the rest of the unit that the character wasn't attached to, charge and hit Bow Wowzer, which is fine. I forgot all about the character that goes after Shy Hammer. That's interesting, but, well, you'll see what happens. Oh, yeah, and the Totemic Summon slams into my Scratapult, which is expected, so good on my opponent. During the magic phase, my opponent gets Totemic Summon off again, and Cheapskate, of all things, graces us with his presence. It's been too long since he's been on the table. I'm glad to see him back, even if he's not on my team. Nothing happens in shooting, so we go into combat, and it's brutal. I lose another Ogre. Lord Tremendous finishes off the character who did issue a challenge, and we kill off all but like a rank of the warriors. It's pretty one-sided. I do believe I win this combat, but he makes his break check and stays, so say what you want about him. These bastards are tough. Over here in combat, yeah, the trappers really tried to do some damage, but without their rotten apples, they're really kind of useless. They get mowed down by these guys and killed to a man, which is exactly what should have happened. But that was their use. They were able to take out 2 of them before they got killed, and they baited them and kind of kept them out of the main combat. So it was a good sacrifice. It's just it always kind of hurts me a little bit to see my trappers go down. Just to really drive it home, my opponent overruns and smears their corpses all over the ground. I thought that was a little excessive, but I'd have done the same thing, so I really couldn't fault him for it. Over here, Bow Wowzer gets to go first and is able to kill the unit champion. Unfortunately, that seemed to have rallied all of the unit champion's buddies, and yeah, they rip him to little Bow Wowzer pieces. So I got the unit champion out, but I had to sacrifice Bow Wowzer to do it. And it was kind of nice that they were able to slow him down a little bit, but, you know, Bow Wowzer's more of a speed bump than anything else, and we respect them for it. They do overrun into the Hammer Brothers, and then we go into that combat. I issue a challenge, or he issues a challenge. Either way, a challenge is issued and accepted, and I end up with that little character that charged him to begin with. And that little bastard's tough. He put 2 wounds through on my unit. I think I was able to do 1 or 2 to him. I don't think it was enough to kill him. I end up staying because I'm stubborn. I think I lose this combat by a lot, actually. But I'm stubborn 9 because Rocker Rocks are stubborn. And I'm able to pass my leadership check, and then I'm able to pass my check to turn and face to reform, and I turn like this, and I'm able to keep enough, everybody's in combat and everything like that. I didn't kill the character, but my opponent reform as well, and that's where everything is after the fact. The character did not join the unit, he's just on the tray because there's a little bit of overlap, which is all perfectly legal because you ignore the 1-inch rule in combat. So the character's not part of the unit or anything like that, everybody's still there, and I'm still in the challenge. But that's the way it looks after all is said and done. And then over here, in a shocking upset, the Totemic Summon gets murdered by the Scratapult. It actually does nothing to the Scratapult. He rolls and he whiffs, and counterattacks the Scraplings. The 7 Scraplings that are on there kill it. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, I needed 6 to wound, I'm well aware. And I did it. Could not believe it. Very proud of the Scratapult. Like I said, the more I play this list, the happier I am with it. With combat over, we go over to top of 3 after movement, and there's not a lot because we're kind of getting stuck in now. The giant slams into the Saurus warriors, not the character, but the warriors that are in combat with my general, just simply because that makes the most sense to me. The giant will get in there and hopefully just start beating on them and winning combats and making them take break checks. It's just a good way to start killing them off because I'm pretty sure my general is either going to get beat by his character or beat his character this turn. I was going to charge Rufus in and I didn't because I didn't want to take dangerous terrains for the water. The good old boys the Fat and the Furious go into the Skinks, and it's just time to get rid of them. And that is it, really. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, the Yetis go into the flank of the Saurus Cav over there. And that is it for movement. No, that's a lie. The Scraplings and Scratapult on the left flank move up to shoot at Cheapskate that came in on the far right flank there. And the unit of Scraplings on the right flank turn to face the Totemic Summon that's on that right flank hill there as well, because I want to kill it before it kills me. That is actually it for movement. There's a better picture of a giant joining this fight, which should be useful. There's a better picture of Fat and the Furious slamming into the Skink Braves. And yes, I took dangerous terrain checks and passed them all, which shocked the hell out of me, I'm not going to lie. And there's a better picture of the Yetis and Khan slamming into the Saurus Cav. And this is do or die time. I don't know how much more the Cav have in them, but I'm going to find out. During the match phase, I get Cleansing Fire off on Lord Tremendous, and that's just to ensure that I finish off this unit because I need these guys in other combats. And then we go into combat. Nothing else happens. The combat is pretty brutal over here. I take 2 more wounds on my general before I kill his character. I'm pretty sure I kill his character. The giant has a fucking field day. He ends up getting swing with 2d6 attacks, and he just rolls out of the box and murders like a dozen of these guys. In return, though, he takes 3 wounds. The 2 or 3 guys I got to strike back did hit him violently and did 3 wounds. I think I win this combat, but my opponent makes his break check and stays right here. Over here, the Fat and the Furious just murder all but a few of the Skink Braves. They aren't able to do anything in return. They auto-break. Become nothing more than skid marks and memories. I do take a wound for dangerous terrain for pursuing, but it was well worth it. I took out the entire unit and ended his magic phase, which is huge. Combat over here, we're able to kill off the rest of the unit. I'm almost positive. I believe that's him pulling the tray away. And believe it or not, Cleansing Fire was a big part of it, so really useful spell. And with that unit, both those units unengaged now, I'm able to split up my forces and get them into other combats, facing off against the Cav that are fleeing, and the stuff over on the left flank with the good old boys. So this should help me a lot in just basically sealing my victory. Combat over here goes amazingly well. I'm able to kill 3 of the Cav, and I take no damage in return. My opponent's dice are not on his team. He's using those new GW dice, the little blue ones and stuff right up there. And when he uses those dice, things go his way, but he didn't figure that out in time, and he was using another set of dice that were not rolling well at all. But in this situation, he used the wrong dice, and 3 Cav die, nothing on my dice. I win this combat. But he's steadfast and makes his break check, and then he also makes his check to turn and face me. So now the Yetis are in a little bit of trouble, but in all fairness, they've done so well. I'm curious to see how far I can push them until they break. So with that all over, here's bottom of 3 after movement, and there's really none. Everything he has is dead or in combat. I think his SARS Cav rally over near Lord Tremendous, and that's it. No, that's not it. His Cheapskate, the Totemic Summon, does slam into the Scraplings on the right flank there. So they're probably screwed, but they will be steadfast, so let's see what happens. There's a better picture of Cheapskate slamming into my my Scraplings, and I don't know. I don't know how well they're going to do, but it should be interesting to see. My opponent no longer has any magic, and there's nothing for him to shoot at, because everything's in combat. So we go into combat, and they're able to kill off Shyhammer. It was amazing. He started using the right dice, and they ripped him apart. He only had 2 wounds left, and he got them both through. Very well played by my opponent. Very well rolled, and Shyhammer dies. Now, in return, I'm able to do a bunch of damage to him. I still win this combat. They finally end up breaking. I do pursue with the giant, but they get away, which is fine. It's my turn next. I should be able to either chase him off the board or run him down. Either way, it'll work out. In combat over here, I'm able to take out all but 2 of his Cav. In return, the Yetis take a wound, and my BSB takes a couple of wounds. He goes on an assassination mission, and it almost succeeds. Luckily, I have a 4-up regen, and he had no flaming, but yeah, there's 2 wounds on Khan, and he would have had them had it not been for some good regen rolls. I win this combat, but he makes his break check, largely thanks to Cold-Blooded. Over here, Cheapskate is able to kill 5 of my Scraplings. I'm not able to do anything back to him. However, I am steadfast. But I fail anyway. I break. I get run down. It was actually pretty funny. Poor Scraplings. They are not made for close combat. It was still fun. With that over, we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and there is some. Lord Tremendous charges the Cav that rallied. Rufus charges the unit of warriors that ran from the giant and killed the hammers and catches them. They have to flee because they were still fleeing. They don't flee far enough. Rufus runs them down in the forest and stomps on their corpses because that's what Rufus does. The good old boys turn around. Skaz turns around to look at Cheapskate. The Scratapult and the Scraplings move up to try to start shooting its Cheapskate just to get him off the table, and that's it for movement. There's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming into the Cav, and I'm really hoping he's able to finish them off. And there's a better picture of Rufus being the best damn monster I've ever owned. Catching those surviving warriors, running them down in the field, and stomping them into the dirt. Such a good Rufus. During the magic phase, just to ensure I get the kills off here that I need, I get Cleansing Fire off on Lord Tremendous, and it's Strength 5 this time, which should pretty much guarantee that both these guys die in combat. Nothing happens in shooting. We go into combat and able to finish off the Cav. Again, mostly thanks to Cleansing Fire. I think I flubbed my close combat attacks. I killed one with impact hits, and then Cleansing Fire finished off the other. That was awesome. Really liked the way that worked out. Then over here, thanks to their -2 initiative because of Yeti Furs and the Yetis, I'm able to get all my attacks off first and kill off the remaining Cav over here, which again is just fantastic. And there it is. That's pretty much the end of the game. I know he still has Cheapskate on the table, but all the lizards are dead, and so my opponent and I just decided to call it, and this went well. This went real well for me, but I have way more experience than my opponent does, and I think there was really no other way this was going to go, just simply because of the experience levels. He made a lot of mistakes, but of course he was going to make a lot of mistakes. It's one of his first games with the Sauron Ancients. He has, very little experience with them, and I've played over 80 games with the Ogre Khans now. But this is what he wanted. This is the way he cuts his teeth, the way he learned, and I respect that. That's exactly what I do. When I get a new army, it's like, kick my teeth down my throat. How else am I going to learn? So I think if he keeps up with this army and makes the changes that he needs to make and keeps going with it the way he's been going with it, he'll be one of the harder opponents that I have to face in the future, in the very near future, and I'm looking forward to that. But we'll get to the recap right away because this game is over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
So, as I'm sure you were able to discern for yourself, this was a victory for Lord Tremendous. I ended up tabling my opponent top of turn 4. So, yeah, that went pretty well for me. I only lost Shyhammer, the Scrap Pack, Bow Wowser, and the Trappers. Not many casualties. I did lose Shyhammer. That hurt. That was about 1,000 points right there, just under, so. But all in all, this pretty much was one-sided, and that's going to happen. That's going to happen when the two experience levels are so much different. But again, I hope my opponent learned a lot from this. I believe he learned a lot from this, and I believe next time we face each other, it'll be a much closer game. I learned a little bit about myself and my army in this game. I know that I throw Shyhammer and Warhammer into some of the worst possible matchups for them, but I can't help it. They're the biggest badass models on the table, and I just want to put them in every combat I can get them into, which is why they keep dying. Like I said, I know my opponent is new, it's a brand new army for him, but he told me to come at him, and I'm good with orders, so I just did what he wanted me to do. My ogres did very well considering there were 2 units of cav on the field, and I'm very pleased with them. I usually have trouble with armor, but this game I got lucky, mostly because of my dice, and mostly, it helps a lot that my opponent's dice were rolling like crap for the majority of the game. My opponent's list, in my opinion, wasn't terrible. It wasn't perfect or, what I would take, but just simply because I play different than he does. I believe he needs a little bit more chaff. He should screen a little bit differently. He should, should have taken out Bow Wowzer and the trappers with other skinks with blowguns or javelins way before I could use them to do what I did. And he's going to learn that. And that's what I hope this game taught him. But if he needs more practice, I will happily play more games with him to give him that practice. Because I'm a giver. It was very cool to see the lizards on the table. I was very close to playing them myself numerous times. I like lizards. So, yeah, I just ended up sticking with ogres, and then when the samurai army became available, I had to get that. So eventually I'll be playing them as well. I also learned that skinks are terrifying in this game. They're just very difficult to ignore. I guess let me put it this way: it's difficult to dedicate the resources needed to take them out, but if you don't, they're going to eat your lunch. So it's a weird balancing act that I have to learn when I face them. Very cool to get the opportunity to face off against them. This is a really good game, though, against a really good opponent who shows a ton of promise. And I'm very much looking forward to our rematch. I'm very curious to see what he changes about his list, his strategy, his tactics, his kits for his characters and stuff like that, so that next time we face off, I'm the one that gets tabled instead of him. Alright everybody, this is a part of the report where I get to thank everybody who supports me financially through Patreon, PayPal, and other means. If you would like to become one of these people, it's easy! Just check the description. You'll see my PayPal, you'll see my Patreon. Go and donate as much as $1, or as little as $1, as much as $1 million. I will be grateful for all of it. Honestly though, if you're going to donate $1 million, you're really wasting your money. Go invest in something much more important than me. But if you want to throw a few bucks my way a month, I'd really appreciate it. And if you want me to say thank you to you on here, I would love to do that. I have many generous donators, but these are the individuals that allow me to thank them properly. Alex of the Veil Renegades, South Florida's Gamermancy team, Daniel Jolson, and Caillou Choi. Thank you guys very, very much. I appreciate you guys and all my donors. Again, if you wish to become one, check my description. Follow the links, and you too could have the sultry tones of my voice speak your name or phrase or whatever in every single battle report, for as long as you donate, because I'm a giver. I'm a sellout, but I'm still a giver as a sellout. But seriously, guys, thank you very much. But that's going to do it, boys and girls. Battle Report number 86 is officially in the history books. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I will get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.